Hello everyone. My name is Yahya Zakaria Ben Khaira. I am the Vice President of the SPE University of Women Student Chapter. We have a distinguished guest today, Mr. Medhat Kamal, the 2023 President of the International Society of Petroleum Engineers. Yeah, we will be having Mr. Medhat presenting us the role of SPE in assisting students and professionals into their careers. I'll start with a quick description about the Society of Petroleum Engineers. The Society of Petroleum Engineers is a global professional organization dedicated to advancing the technical knowledge and professional development of individuals in the upstream, midstream, and downstream of the oil and gas industry with a focus on innovation, collaboration, education. SPE provides a platform for petroleum engineers, geoscientists, and related professionals to exchange ideas, share expertise, and address challenges in the exploration and production of hydrocarbons. Through conferences, publication, and networking opportunities, SPE plays a crucial role in shaping the future of the energy sector. Now, Mr. Medhat, do you want me to introduce you, or you can introduce yourself?
Uh, yeah, go ahead. If you have a biographic sketch, you can actually go ahead and mention it.
Okay. Mr. Medhat Kamal is a Chevron Fellow Emeritus and the 2023 President of the International Society of Petroleum Engineers. Mr. Kamal worked for Cairo Exploration and Production Company before joining Chevron in 2000. He is an honorary member of the SPE Testing, Reservoir Description and Production and Reservoir Engineering, as well as management experience in developing and deploying research and engineering projects. He is the lead author and editor of the SPE Monograph 23, Transient Well Testing, and has published repeatedly in various referred SPE journals. He served as a technical editor, review chairman, and executive editor of the GPT and SPE REE, and is a peer apart member. He holds a bachelor's degree with honors from Cairo University and the Masters of Science in and a PhD degree from Stanford University in Petroleum Engineering with minor in Computer Science. Mr. Kamal serves as an SPE distinguished lecturer twice, giving his lectures more than 80 times in 23 countries. He has won several regional and international awards, including the Cedric K. Ferguson Medal, the Formation Evaluation Award, SPE Distinguished Service Award, and the Texas Petroleum Engineer of the Year Award, and served on the SPE International Board of Directors from 2007 to 2009 as the Regional Director of Western North Africa. Now, Mr. Kamal will present to us the role of SPE in helping students and engineers. And let's let this session start. You can go ahead, Mr. Kamal.
Thank you very much for inviting me to share some thoughts with the student members of the University of Merdes student chapter and the other audience to actually joining us today. It is actually a great pleasure for me to get a chance to talk with our members in Algeria. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so I was asked to talk about the role of SPE in helping students and engineers. So the outline of my presentation, first, I would like to give some background information about generally about petroleum engineering and the expanding energy landscape that we are all part of right now. I want to give a very quick update about SPE. And if possible, I would like to share a viewpoint from one of the industry leaders, the CEO of Chevron Company. As I mentioned to our host, I have that in a YouTube presentation, so I'm not sure how that will work in a presentation. If it works, fine. If it doesn't work, I'll describe what's in it for you. Then I'm going to talk about the role of SPE in supporting students and engineering careers, and then we'll have some concluding remarks. If we have some time, I'll be glad to answer any questions you all may have for me. So when we talk about petroleum engineering, we actually mean that our main job after everything is said and done is that we provide the world with the energy it needs. And we are actually advancing the production of oil and gas and related energy communities, as I will talk a little bit later, in order to meet the world's energy. We need to do that in a safe, secure, and sustainable manner. It is important for us to recognize that we have been doing that for more than 120 years and continuously changing, continuously adapting to fulfill our missions and the changes that are happening around us regarding the need for our products and the development in technology that's actually changing the way we do our business. It is also an important point to recognize that we have very important roles to play in the expansion of the energy landscape. People talk a whole lot about energy transition, and it is only a part of the energy expansion, and we have important roles to play in all of this. I'll explain that also in a little bit. It is also important for us to remind everyone and recognize that we care about this planet like everybody else, and we want to keep it safe for ourselves and for the following generations. It is also something of pride for us to recognize that we are actually unique in a whole lot of the efforts that we are doing. So right now, a lot of people talk about that we have as a need for the world energy, that we need to have reliable and secure sources for the energy. In other words, we need to have energy that's available to us all the time, and it's available to us in a secure manner. One important part of that is what we are doing as petroleum engineers, or producing the world with oil and natural gas. We also need to have this energy affordable. People should be able to obtain it within their means, and that's especially important for countries that are not as rich as some of the other countries that exist in the world. And also, it is important for us to make sure that we are doing everything we can in order to decarbonize all the forms of energy in order to keep our planet safe. So these are the three elements of the humanity needs for energy. People talk about that, and they call it sometimes the energy trilemma. Actually, they talk about like it's challenging to do all the three things at the same time. I actually beg to differ about that. I wouldn't call that the energy trilemma. I would call that this is actually an opportunity for us as energy professionals to be able to do all this work, and we actually are going to be involved in all three phases of the energy landscape in the future. And I'm going to explain that in a little bit. So when we talk about our role in all forms of what is needed for the energy in the future, I call that petroleum plus plus. Let me explain. Number one, by the word petroleum, I mean what is needed as far as production of oil and natural gas for the world energy. There are three groups of groups that actually develop prognosis, develop projections about what will be needed from the different forms of energy, sources of energy for a long time to come. One of these groups are major oil companies like ExxonMobil, like Chevron, like Shell, like Total Energies, and so on. The other group are national oil companies, especially the larger national oil company, like, for example, Saudi Aramco, like Petronas, Sonatrach, so on. And the third group are groups that come from different governments. In the United States, there is a group called the Energy Information Administration, EIA. In European Union, there is a group called the International Energy Agency, IEA, and all these three groups have projections about the different need from the different sources of energy over the future. All of them, by the way, come out with very similar results. What I am showing on the slide in front of you now is the latest projection from the International Energy Agency. That's the one from the European Union. And as you can see on that one forms is that up till to the year 2050, the need for oil and natural gas are going to continue to be very important. Actually, it's going to increase in the volume until that time, in addition to the other forms of energy that we are looking for. So, if, for example, if we look at the projections, say that in the year 2022, which is the last year we have complete projection for, we actually needed 104 billion barrels equivalent of oil per year. And then in the year 2040, we will actually be needing 120 billion barrels of equivalent oil per year. Main reason for that is, number one, the increase in the population of the world. Right now, there are about 8 billion or 8 milliard, I think that's a word that's used in the Middle East, of people who are living on this planet. By the year 2050, according to the United Nations, that number will be about 9.7 billion or 9.7 milliard people living in the world. You can simply do little math and you figure out that we will be needing a whole lot more energy. In addition, we will actually having a lot of places on the world right now without energy, advanced energy. For example, about 1.5 billion people right now do not have electricity. And these people are, of course, are wanting to be able to have the same level of energy, the same level of development that most of the people in the world have. So, and that will increase the need for energy, including hydrocarbons, fuel hydrocarbons like oil and natural gas. So if we look at this slide actually shows the percentage of where the energy the world will be needing, the percentage from the different sources. So you can see, for example, in the year 2022, 35% of the energy came from oil. By the year 2040, 30% will come from oil. Natural gas, it is now 21%. It's going to be 24%. One important point here to say is that although the percentage of the oil need in the mix is going to decrease a little bit, and the natural gas is going to increase a little bit, you can see that if you combine them together, by the 2040, still 54% of the energy the world will be needing will be coming from what our industry produces. And the other important point, although the percentage is staying about the same to what it is now, the actual volume that we produce will need to be increasing, as I mentioned before. So if you look at right now, the percentages, you can see from that slide, you can see what the percentage of oil, natural gas, coal, and then the last two bars there represent the new forms of energy, which we will be needing because we will not be able to fulfill the world need for energy only from oil and natural gas. We need the additional forms of energy like wind and solar and other green things like geothermal and biofuels and so on. Talk a little bit about that more. So this is what we have right now in 2022. And as you can see what the picture look like in 2040, one more time, similar to the number that I showed you on the slide before. Oil and natural gas will continue to produce more than half what the world energy needed for a long time to come. So that is the first thing that our industry have to do. We have to continue to provide, produce oil and natural gas in order to fulfill the world need for energy. The second thing that we need to do is that, which is the first plus. Remember, I said I'm talking about petroleum plus. The first plus is that we need to be doing some work in order to help mitigate the climate change concern that people have. And in this slide, I'm showing you two examples of things we need to be doing. One thing, for example, is to reduce the methane emissions. This is something in order to do, we need to expand our ability to monitor and report and verify the emissions that are being released from our wells. And we also need to increase the innovation in order to allow us to figure out the best way to detect these releases and to remove them or actually stop them. And that may require for us to upgrade our infrastructure and improve how our wells are being controlled. And when you actually think about that, in the end, reducing methane emissions mean that we actually are going to be having more products to provide to the world. So actually, this is increasing our bottom line. The other part, another example of the things that we will be needing to do in order to help with mitigating the concern about climate change is our effort in carbon capture and sequestration. The amount of CO2 that exists in the atmosphere and being released in the atmosphere is going to continue to increase with time. We can reduce that by reducing some of the things industrial use, but the main reason for continuing to increase is, as I mentioned before, the increase of the population of people on the planet. And one of the most viable way of reducing carbon concentration in the atmosphere is sequestering carbon dioxide and actually sequestering it into underground formations. As you all know, this is one of the activities that we do. This is part of our work. We know how to inject fluids on underground formation. We've been doing that for a long time, starting with water flooding and miscible injection of fluids. And we will continue to do that with injecting carbon underground formation. As a matter of fact, that's the most important way of removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And in order for us to be able to do that, then there are three things that need to be done. Number one is to increase our innovation knowledge, because we have some challenges when we talk about we need to inject CO2 under the ground and make it stay there for hundreds of years. We need to have cap rocks, maybe 2 or 3 of cap rocks. We need to have our wells designed and built in such a way that there will be no leakages. And then we need to be working on making sure that things will work based on the expected changes on physics and chemistry and the geomechanics of the hosting formation over a long period of time. There will need to be some adjustment in our business models, because when we talk about that we need to capture the CO2 and inject it under the ground, we need to find the funds to do that. Who's going to pay for that? So our business models need to include the cost of doing that in order for us to continue to do it. And of course, the other part which is important are the regulations that will exist. And that, of course, regulations, as we all know, changes from one country to the other. But we need to have the regulations that will allow us to do that work. And there are efforts in all three parts of that model in order to allow us to do that. But the main point is we are going to be the one who are mainly responsible for sequestering CO2 in order to keep the climate change, concern about the climate change mitigated. So that is the first plus. The second plus is our role in forming new forms of energy. And there we have several several activities in that. I'm only showing you one example here, and that is in producing geothermal energy. One of the things that we do is right now is that we produce considerable amount of hydrocarbons from tight formations, shale and tight formations. And the way we do that is by, as you all know, by drilling horizontal wells, and then we having multi-stage fractures in order to increase the area open for the flow for the fluids into the wells and producing it when we're talking about formation, which is very tight. We are actually, there is a lot of work that is being done right now, exactly in the same technology, in order to allow us to produce heat, not fluids, from the underground. In this example here, you can see that we are having a well that is drilled. It's a horizontal well, and there are a bunch of fractures. And there is this well, we will probably inject water. This water will actually extract heat from the under the ground, and then we will produce the heat fluid under the next well. This is just one example of the things that we need to be doing, and we are actually working on that using geothermal. There are other things we're doing. I'm just showing you here one example. Another thing that is important for us to recognize is that we will continue to increase our technical abilities to do work. Increasing all the time. For example, over the last 10 years, there have been a lot of discussion about data analytics, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and so on. And we are working right now in developing our own petroleum engineering specific artificial intelligence, what you call large language models, something like ChatGPT, which I'm sure everybody in the audience heard about. So we are actually developing our own chat system, which will allow you to ask a question, and then that question will be answered by searching the vast library that we have of technical papers and technical forms in order to do that. So this picture you see there of a signing agreement that we have that is between three groups, SPE and Aramco and I2K Connect. We're actually going to be developing our chat system that will be very helpful for we will continue to do the things. So that is a point I would like to make. I wanted to make at the beginning to let everybody know that this is what we are going to be looking to do on the extended future. We need to be producing more oil and gas. We need to be doing some work in order to mitigate the concern about climate change. And we need to be producing energy from new forms like geothermal and hydrogen and so on. And we need to continue developing the technology as our technology continue to advance with time, as one example I'm showing you in this picture. Now, the Society of Petroleum Engineers itself, as was mentioned at the very beginning during the introduction, as you all know, is an international society. It started more than 100 years ago as part of the American Institute of Mining, Metallurgical, and Petroleum Engineers. And then, of course, things changed, and we all recognize that our profession is an international profession. It is not a profession that is restricted to one part of the world. So right now, we have about 120,000 members. About 36 of them are in North America. That is Canada, United States, and Mexico. About 25% of them are in the Middle East and North Africa. This is the part where Algeria is part of. And you can see also we have about 13% in Asia Pacific, about 11% in Europe, and smaller numbers in Latin America, Caribbean, and Russia and the Caspian. And International Society, we actually have 203 professional sections worldwide. In addition, we have 400 and actually not 17 anymore, we have 419 student chapters in 134 countries. So the mission of our society is that has been also evolving. And when you consider the new expected changes in the energy landscape, our mission is now to connect the global community of engineers, scientists, and related professionals in order to be able to advance our technical and our professional competence in order to explore and develop and produce oil and gas, and as well as other related energy resources, one more time, to provide the world with safe, secure, and sustainable energy. And that is reflected also in the vision what we have. This updated vision and mission of our society is something that was recently changed. One more time, that doesn't change all the time, but it changes whenever there is a need for it. So our core values, then, in order to do that, number one is actually to provide technical excellence and professionalism. We need to provide this information to our members. So SPE is a technical society, technical professionals. We only produce technical information and share technical information that has been scientifically vetted in order to make sure that it is accurate. We disseminate this among all our members in order to help them do the best job they can. We are focused on our members in order to be able that whatever information we provide to them are accessible to them, and the resources are available to them. We are looking at it we look at the global scale, we look at what is happening worldwide, but when it comes to actually providing the services, we are thinking about for each local community to do that. We collaborate with each other. Whenever someone develops a new solution to a problem and they publish it, then this information is available to us. We collaborate with people also in other organizations, scientific, technical organization, in order to make sure that we're having all the different, all the available technical advancement to do our work. It is important for us to have diversity. We embrace our members from all over the world, different makeup of our members. Everybody is included and diversified. And one more time, we are very cognizant about our role in order to have a leadership role in order to achieve a safe and secure and sustainable energy while protecting the planet that we all live on. I would like to share, if possible, one more time, I'm not sure how that thing will work. I would like to share a short video, about 2 minutes, by one of the leaders of our industry. He's a chief executive officer of one of the largest oil companies. So I am going to click on the link there on the left, and I'm going to see how that will work. So I will when it start working, I will actually look forward to feedback from you if you are actually able to see this presentation or not. Now I stopped that in order to find out, have you been able to hear that?
No.
No, sir. For the moment, we don't see it.
I'm sorry?
No,
For the
we
moment,
were. Unfortunately, we weren't able to hear.
You were not able to hear. You were seeing the presentation, but not hearing it, right?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone know how do I make it? How can I make that such that you all can hear it? Anyone have an idea about how to do that? Because I know you guys are all more technically savvy than I am.
I think you would need to share your screen, but not the Zoom session, your desktop screen.
I mean, share the screen, but not the what?
Not your presentation, but share your desktop screen on your laptop.
Share the desktop. You mean not?
Not precisely the presentation that is on Zoom.
Okay, so if I share, share the screen. Okay, so now I'm sharing the screen.
Perfect. We can't hear it, but
can you hear it now?
no, we can't. But
okay.
we can see it.
Okay, I am not going to. I know everybody's time is valuable, so I'm not going to spend more time on that. Essentially, this person is talking in the Society of Petroleum Engineers. We had a symposium about our role in energy transition, and it simply confirms or verifies the information that I just talked to you about it. And that person was actually providing same information, and was continuously encouraging all of us to continue to do the work. So I really don't want to spend any more time on this. Everybody's time is valuable. So now let's talk about what, by the way, can you all now see my slide?
Yes, we can see it perfectly.
Okay, all right. I wanted to make sure that after I shared something else, it didn't stop. So there are a lot of programs that the Society of Petroleum Engineers have, and they are very especially helpful for our student members and our young members. And these programs not only provide us, all of us actually, with technical information that allow us to do our work, but it also helps us with our professional development as we go out through our career. All the programs that I am going to be describing to you now, you all can access them by simply when you go to, as members of SPE, and you actually have the ability to go to spe.org, the website, and then you will be able to find out all these programs. First one is the program about leadership development training program. And if you go through this program, it is administered by our Business Management and Leadership Committee. And there are a lot of information there about the development of leadership training, things about how do you actually communicate with people, how do you actually make presentations, how do you actually plan for the different steps that need to be taken in order to achieve a given objective. Of course, the work you're going to be done is going to be technical work, but for that technical work to be planned properly in order to reach an objective, then you need to have the leadership, management and leadership experience there, and that program help you with that. Another important place, which probably may be the most important thing that we provide, is that we provide a very large library of technical information. One Petro has hundreds of thousands of technical papers that have been written and presented, and a lot of them have been scientifically vetted and reviewed by technical groups. These are the ones that are actually published, and when they are all usually have, you will have under them the letters PA for peer-reviewed approval. And these technical papers are available to all our members as members of the university. I'm sure university have a subscription for that. And actually, when you graduate and you start working, I am sure that your employers are going to have, like Sonatrach and all these great big companies, and even a whole lot smaller companies have access to these papers. If you have any questions, you're actually going to be able to list your question, and you will be able to get a very list of all the technical paper that you will be able to look at and find the answer to your work. That artificial intelligence project that I showed you a picture of at the beginning, we actually, our aim is that we're going to improve on that. Our aim that when you ask a question, not only that it will give you a list of the literature that are available with the answer, it will actually give you the answer. It will actually search this technical information, find the answer, and give it to you. But unlike something like ChatGPT, which just give you words, we are actually going to be able to give you the answer, and we are going to give you specific references for everything that is being presented to you. We hope that within maybe 2 years, we are going to have these capabilities for all our engineers. It will actually improve our efficiency in being able to find the information that we need to do our work. Another important things that are available for us is conferences. Our conferences, as you all know, are times when actually people get together and people present papers about their development, technical development that they made, and allow people a very good chance to ask questions and actually to network and communicate with each other and get to know members in the community with different skill sets that you'll actually be able to work with all the time in your career. Our industry is known for being a very collaborative industry. Of course, when we work for different groups, there are different competitions that are happening among us, and we are all smart enough to be able to differentiate between what information we can share with each other without affecting or risking the competitive nature of the work that we're all doing. But these conferences are a very good example for opportunities for all our members, especially our student and young members, in order to increase their competencies and increase their knowledge of the industry. One of the things that we're doing is that we continue to expand the technical work that we're doing. We have geographical sections and we have technical sections. Geographical sections, for example, like the technical professional section that we have in Algeria. And that is the section that is the sponsor, for example, of the student chapters, like the student chapter at your university and the other universities in Algeria, for example. So this geographic section is actually, you usually have meetings, you have networking among members within a geographic area. We also have technical sections where members who are interested in a given technology get together and meet and discuss the advancement and developments in their technical part. These are not geographically limited, they are international. and the meetings are always happen through virtual meeting, online meeting, just like the meeting we have now, where members all over the world have times where they get together, discuss a specific topic. There may be a speaker presenting some advancement that they come up with. And traditionally, we have technical sections in what we work on, something like in drilling, something like in flow assurance, geomechanics, hydraulic fracturing, and so on. But we also, as we continue to develop and we continue to evolve with the change of the landscape, we actually are having new technical sections, and you can see them there in red, that these are relatively newer technical sections. By the way, they are not that new. They are about 10 years old. For example, in carbon capture utilization simulation, something about like geothermal, something like about methane emission, something like about sustainable development. These are technical sections dedicated to the advancement in these different areas and available to all our members. All of us as members have the right to go, and one more time, you go to SPE.org, you look for the under communities, you'll find all the different technical sections, and you can join as many of these technical sections that you think are important to you, or you are interested in working with them or learning about them as you can, and then you'll be able to continue to advance your knowledge in that area. Another part is also something called SPE Connect. These are, one more time, these are groups of for example, we have an SPE Connect group for reservoir engineering. And one more time, everything I'm saying about here, you all can join. So let's say that, for example, I am working in reservoir engineering, and just one example. By the way, I am a reservoir engineer. This is why I'm using that as an example. But it's valid for everywhere. And I have a question, a technical question. I actually can go ahead on the thing, and I actually can post that question. And then members, other members like all of us, who actually have information or expertise in answering that question, will go ahead and provide you with the answer. And then you will actually to see answer for question. And then once one person answer, another person may come in and say, yeah, I also have experience in that, and I agree with what was said there, but maybe there are some changes and so on. And you will actually have this wealth of information available to you in order to be able to do the work that you're doing. By the way, you can also, like, for example, if you are studying, and while you are studying, you are in one of your courses, and you are running into something and you really need to know something more about it, you can also pose a question on SPE Connect, and other members will give you information. We also give you information about places you can go for and look for more information about it. Or may also somebody give you directly the answer that you will be able to use. So SPE Connect is a very important part of doing that. We also have mentoring, e-mentoring, where if you join an e-mentoring system, you will actually will find members who are more professional, experienced members, have longer history, they actually have more experience, and you can actually connect with them and the acquisition. And we, as you can see, that we're calling that a no boundaries, no borders movement, because this thing is, of course, everything is done online, so we really don't have any restrictions about you need to be in the same place. This part here is that, for example, having SPE on your personal quick things like iPhone or any of these things. This is just a convenient thing you have. You actually have, I, for example, have that thing on my phone here, and I can actually access everything I wanted to do. But this is just more of a convenient thing. There is nothing, no more technical advances in that part. One thing also available to you is the energy stream. There are a lot of educational videos. There are a lot of events that happen all the time that you can actually go ahead and listen to and participate in them. We are actually, for example, as you can see the numbers on the right part of the screen, we are actually having when we actually have a video in which people are discussing a given method. I'm going to show you an example in a second. Then you actually have, as you can see here, we have an average views. We have like about 600, 700 people watching every episode that we have. These episodes are usually about half an hour episodes where people are discovering, experts are discovering a given topic. And then you can actually go ahead and look at the list of the things that have been presented before, and you can go ahead and review it at any time later on. We have a whole lot of these things available to you. You go to SPE.org and you go under energy stream and you find the list of them. One way is also of having distinguished lectures. Distinguished lectures, we have about, every year, we have about 30 distinguished lectures. These are people who have a very significant expertise in giving topics, and they volunteer to share their knowledge with our members. So we actually have about 30 of them every year. They actually travel the world and they present their lectures to our different sections. Every section is allowed to have 3 of these distinguished lectures share their topics with them. It used to be all 3 lectures are in-person lectures, but due to the pandemic, that thing got decreased completely, became 3 online lectures. Right now, we have a combination of them. But all these lectures, whether they actually to be presented at your section or not, in addition to all the lectures that have been presented in years past, they are available on SPE. For example, if I want to, this is one lecture in front of us, and had we had the ability to show the projections on the things like I tried to do before, if I click on that one, on that thing here, it actually would show you the lecture. So I'm gonna, this, for example, especially specific lecture is about the role of carbon capture sequestration and hydrogen in the energy transition. I'm not going to show this lecture. If you click on that, you'll be able to show the lecture. I'm not going to show the lectures in here. I'm just going to click on it to show you that you will be able to access all these lectures. Just going to show you that example. So, okay, so you can see when I clicked on it, now it asks me to sign in. Just simply sign in with my SPE name and password, which as a member, you all have that. And then you will be able to, you can see, by the way, I'm going to stop here and say, are you all seeing what's on my screen now? That there is a page, say that SPE Live Distinguished Lecture Series. Do you see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. So you can see that now you have that, and you can actually go ahead and look at any lecture. You have the whole library of lectures in all different topics, and you can actually look and see that. So I'm gonna get out of here, hopefully without making a whole lot more disturbance. Let me see, how do I get out of here? Exit. Oops. This is not what we want. Yeah. So we have the distinguished lecture. Another thing that we have is that, as I said, we have podcasts. Like for example, there is a podcast here about expanding the opportunity for petroleum engineers' career, and in that specific podcast, we have 4 members of the panel. This is a young member. This is also, oops, no, I don't want to do that. Let me go back. Okay. This is also a young member. This person here is a professor at Imperial College, and this person here is a member of the one of the oil companies. So you can actually go ahead, and all this podcast can be re-broadcasted. You can actually go and listen to them and see one more time. You have a whole library of these things. We also have training links where there are a whole lot of training courses, and you can access these training courses one more time. You go online and you have a course catalog and a schedule and all kind of information available to you. Usually you can use that to, of course, you are at university and you are having a lot of courses. And I'm sure maybe you don't want to say that we don't want any more courses. We're having enough courses, and they test us and all that stuff. So maybe, but it's something that complement in case there is something you need, and maybe that will be more practical or more applicable to you once you graduate and you actually are starting your work. Now, one of the other things that is very important for all our members, especially our young members, is that your ability to volunteer to do work with the SPE. Volunteering for doing work with the SPE actually expands your network and expands your competencies and allows you to know more and more about the profession that we are in. And when we talk about volunteering opportunities, first thing you probably need to do is that you volunteer doing work within your local student chapter. Like, you know, I'm sure some of you are working on developing programs, hosting a lecture like the one I'm presenting to you now, and you can also work with your local professional section. They, I'm sure, have a lot of work you can do there for organizing meetings, for organizing membership activities, for developing study groups. So when you volunteer to do that work, by the way, this is how all the SPE works. We completely are dependent on volunteers. These are members like you and myself, and we're doing the things because we are interested in expanding our professional and technical knowledge and for actually being part of our university. As a volunteer, you can also, especially shortly after you graduate, you can actually be an ambassador to schools and universities. Would like for young people to actually be able to be the link once they graduate. As soon as they graduate, they'll be the link between the profession and the people who are still students, sometimes even at high schools and universities. Then you can actually do some volunteering activities on the regional level. You are part of our second largest region, member-wise, the Middle East and North Africa region. And you can, there is a lot of conferences that are being done there, and they all need work in helping with all the activities. One of the important things also you can volunteer on is on the technical publication part. One of them, of course, is that if you are doing any technical project and you can write a paper about that, you can be an author. One of the big advantages of that, of course, that when you author a paper, you do technical work and you author a paper, and that can be, for example, if you are a student and you are doing like your senior project, or you're doing your master thesis or a PhD thesis, then these are all nice forms for which to write some technical paper about them. One of the advantages of that is that, number one, it gives you some recognition, which you would be deserving, but it also, like, when you're writing your paper and you present it to be reviewed, you will actually going to get very valuable feedback from the reviewers about things that will help you improve the technical content of what you're doing and expand your technical competency and professional. You can also volunteer to be a reviewer of technical papers. And actually, when you do that, you will find that, number one, you are using your knowledge in order to help make sure that whatever is written is being scientifically vetted, scientifically approved, and that will again expand your knowledge. And you continue to work after that, maybe on international level. But the most important thing here is that you're working with meetings and networking with people and actually expanding your sphere of influence and the number of people that you know in the industry. And that will be very helpful to you both technically and professionally. So I've been talking for a little bit. So just to conclude one more time, we are our main job, we are providing the world with the energy it needs. And after all said and done, we are, and we will continue to be doing that for a foreseeable future. We need to do that in a safe, which of course I'm sure that's what they are, the teaching that you're getting at university as engineers. Now, our number one thing we do is that do things safely, and we need to be able to have secure and sustainable manner. That is important for the whole world. We have been around for more than 120 years, and we've been continually changing, and we will continue to change. We're not going to stop. The technology is advancing, the geopolitical things around us are advancing, the needs are advancing, and we're going to continue to do that. We are very important, as people talk about, some people talk about energy transition, as you can probably gain from all my talking now, that I'm actually better using the word energy expansion because we are going to continue to do the work that we're doing, and we're going to expand it to new forms of energy. I give you a couple of examples of new forms of energy we need to be involved in. And also I give you some information about the things that we'll be doing in the energy field in order to mitigate the concern about climate change. We have important role to play in all three aspects of that. Again, what I call petroleum plus plus. I usually mention that to a lot of people. We are an important part of the solution about the challenges that people have. We are citizens of this earth, and it's not like some other people will care about that more than we do. We just care about it as like everybody else. And then the other thing, which is also important, is that in order for us to do all the things that I talked about we need to do, we actually need graduates, young members, to continue to enter and enrich our profession. So I look forward to all of you to be part of the professional group of our society, and for you to continue the path that the predecessors have done, to continue to work and provide the world with the energy it needs. These are all the remarks that I have. I think maybe you have a couple of more minutes. If someone has a question, I'll be more than happy to try to answer. Thank you.
We want to thank you for your let's say presentation, and for leading us to a better future energy mix, and to deliver more innovation through the collaboration that the SPE is putting to the world. And I think we will pass on to the questions. Do you want me to read them for you?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Well, I have a question myself. What do you think about CCUS and geothermal energy? Can they both be implemented at the same time?
I am sorry, CCUS, you said, and what?
And geothermal energy.
Yeah, of course. Okay. I mentioned this example. We need to sequester carbon dioxide, okay? Regardless, we need to sequester carbon dioxide, because carbon dioxide is going to continue to be produced in the atmosphere, like, all of us breathe CO2. So exhale CO2. So we need to continue to do that. And it is recognized right now that the most viable way of doing that is to actually sequester it in underground formation. We know how to do that now, so we can actually sequester it in depleted oil and gas reservoirs. Why depleted oil and gas reservoirs? Because if you inject the CO2 in a formation that has not been depleted before, then the pressure in this formation is going to increase very quickly. And it will become difficult to increase, and then we'll have to do fracturing, and then we have to do a whole lot of geomechanical work to be done. So depleted oil and gas reservoirs are a very good place to do that. Another place, of course, is if you are talking about very large formation very large, such that when you inject the CO2 in them and you don't produce anything else, because these formations are very large, then the increase in the pressure is not going to be significant. So we can continue to do the injection. As I mentioned in my presentation, for us to do that, there are some technical challenges, but they are surmountable, and we're actually having a lot of progress in them. There are right now several CO2 sequestration projects in the world. One, for example, I mean, they're all over the place, and some of them are very large, and they're going to continue to do that. And there are on the planning now, being planned, very large number of carbon dioxide sequestration underground formation. What is important, what needed to be done now is that for us as industry and for communities to figure out how are we going to pay for this. Another word I can say, the economic model. How are we going to do that? Would that be part of the price of the product that we have? Would that be something that organization or governments will need to subsidize for doing so on? So that model needs to be developed, and for the different countries of the world, the different groups need to figure out what regulations, what laws that they need to have in order to make sure that done in according to in a regulated world. Geothermal, the other part of your question, geothermal, we have been producing geothermal for a long time, but we are producing geothermal right now from areas of the world where the temperature is abnormally high. So we are actually producing hot water and steam, and we're using that in order to generate electricity. The new advanced geothermal systems, we are actually trying to extract the heat from areas where the temperature is normal gradient. If we are actually able to drill wells deep enough and have the wells, as I mentioned in the example, horizontal wells with several stages of fractures, in order to have a substantial increase in the surface area that will allow the heat to flow into the producing well, then that will increase the temperature of the fluid in the producing well, and then we can use this heated fluid in order again to help us produce electricity. There is a lot of work that has been done on that. As a matter of fact, there is recently the Department of Energy in the United States provided a project for about $150 million in order to, it is actually called, the name of the project is GEOD. It stands for Geothermal Energy Based on Oil Demonstrated Expertise. In other words, they are recognizing that the demonstrated expertise of the oil industry in producing geothermal is what is needed to actually expand the geothermal production from what we call the new geothermal, the one where we're actually producing from natural or normal temperature gradient. That project, by the way, is being administered by the Society of Petroleum Engineers. We are in the process right now and figuring out the protocols of how to do that. And we will actually be looking at different universities and different companies in order to help develop new competencies in order to allow us to make sure that we transfer the knowledge that we have on drilling and producing geothermal energy into the new enhanced geothermal energy. So both of these are viable way. It is part of our expanding role as petroleum engineers to produce energy for the world.
Thank you for your enlightening answer. We have another question. Do you think that carbon capture and reducing methane emissions by rock sequestration would be enough to face the environmental problem? Sorry.
Do I think that carbon capture will be enough to, you're talking about to arrest the increase in the temperature? Is that the question?
No, I said, do you think carbon capture and reducing emissions by rock sequestration would be enough to face the environmental problem?
Will be enough? I'm sorry, would you please speak slowly because I'm having a hard time hearing you. It will be enough to do what?
Do you think that by reducing methane emissions by rock sequestration would be enough to face the environmental problem?
It will help. It will be it is something that in the right direction. Reducing emissions. When we talk about reducing emissions, we're talking about actually reducing emission from things like methane. And methane is actually a more competent greenhouse gas than CO2. It stays there for longer, and its effect of increasing temperature is more than CO2. So sequestering that or reducing these emissions will actually have a very positive response effect on what we're doing. And then capturing CO2 is actually it's a step in the right direction. There are a lot of people talk about several things like reducing consumption. But when we talk about reducing consumption, we're talking about reducing consumption from the so-called advanced or organization of economically developing countries. They will reduce consumption. Other parts of the world actually will have to increase consumption because right now they don't have any consumption. Capturing CO2 is going to be and reducing emission. Yeah, they are. I don't know if they are by themselves are going to be enough, but they are definitely steps in the right direction to help.
Thank you. I think we have a final question. Why is it important for petroleum geologists to know how much a shale has compacted during a burial?
Why it is important for petroleum geologists to do what?
To know how much a shale has compacted during burial.
How much a shale is compacted during
burial of the formations on the rocks.
Well, okay. You remember at the beginning of my talk, I said that we are unique. And this is one of the most important things about why we are unique. As all the different disciplines of engineering, engineers actually design systems and they work with the systems and manage them. In our case, we did not design the system that we work with. The system that we work with, the oil and gas reservoirs, the oil and gas fields, are given to us. We did not design them. That's number one. Number two, we cannot physically access them. Like, for example, our counterparts, the people who are doing mining engineering, where they actually can, they also work with systems that are given to them. They did not develop them. And they actually absolutely did not design them, but they can actually physically access their system. We cannot access our system. So this is why we are unique. And it's also this is why it's a whole lot more fun and a whole lot more challenging for us to do our work. And that actually make our work even more rewarding. So how do we do that? We rely on all kind of things. We rely, number one, on our ability to measure the response of the system that we're working with whenever we make any changes in the system. We call that dynamic characterization. We also need to know the static things that comes from our geoscientists. They are we're all working with the team together, geoscientists, the geologists, the geophysicists. So it's very important for them to actually be able to characterize as much as possible the reservoir, and they do that, of course, using all the technologies that are available to them. So it is essential that we rely on the geologic and geophysical description that we have of our systems in order to help us, number one, find them, and number two, actually to help us manage them and produce them in such a way that will actually make it economically feasible for us to do the work.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that was our last question. We will conclude our session right now.
All right. Thank you very much for inviting me to talk to you today. And I wish you all success. And I'm sure that you are on the right track. You are joining a very viable and very important industry. One more time, please remember, after all said and done, we are the one who are providing the world with the energy it needs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Have a good day. Thank you again.
Thank you.